More fallout for Chris Cuomo following his firing from CNN. According to the AP, the former anchor's publisher has canceled an upcoming book. A spokesperson for Custom House told the outlet that the book named Deep Denial was originally slated for a fall 2022 release and was billed as a, quote, provocative analysis of the harsh truths that the pandemic and Trump years have exposed about America and a roadmap of the work needed to make our ideals match reality.
This comes as Cuomo allegedly hired legal representation in anticipation of a lawsuit against CNN for $18 million still remaining in his contract. Cuomo signed a $24 million four-year deal with the network in April 2020. Katie Halper, host of The Katie Halper Show and co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast, joins us now to weigh in. Katie, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We've had both of the Useful Idiots on today.
That's right. Both ends of the show. So no book deal anymore for Mr. Cuomo. So I guess he could still self-publish. Do you think he might go that route?
Yeah, or maybe he could get like Time's Up to publish it or something. Time's Up continues to publish it. Since they didn't do such a great job of what they're supposed to do, as seen by their dealings with Andrew Cuomo. But yeah, maybe they could do a joint venture. I mean, it is a waste of a book title. Like, it's not the Deep Denial I think he intended to use the title for, but there is a great Deep Denial, the tale of two Cuomos. Maybe he and Andrew could co-write it together. I guess it's already written. I'm not sure if it's already written, but maybe he could use some of Andrew Cuomo's staff, just as Andrew Cuomo did when they were supposed to be dealing with COVID. There are just endless opportunities for the Cuomos, as you can see with the fact that Chris is demanding severance pay that he doesn't get because of the contract, because of their morality clause. But the Cuomos are they have no sense of shame. Have you no shame, sir? No sense of decency? I think we know the answer to those questions.
I mean, clearly they must not, because for this book, I mean, I don't know what's in the book, but if the book is about the Trump years and the pandemic, it's odd that Andrew Cuomo would be writing a book talking about what, I would imagine how Trump's Red America screwed up the pandemic and whatnot. And it's like, I mean, a little bit of self-awareness, a family awareness, I suppose, about the pandemic. So it is very, brazen for him to again, I don't know what was in the book, but we could only assume that was he going to be pointing the finger at his brother and saying that he had some serious mess ups?
Yeah, I highly doubt it. Right, Chris Cuomo. I know it's hard to confuse them because they.
Oh, sorry, Chris. Right. Yes.
Chris Cuomo wrote that book. Chris, I mean, it could be deep denial. My brother's refusal to admit what he did wrong, and my denying the way that I helped him until I had to come clean somewhat because of the AG's report.
Well, so the AG report thing is interesting because that's what I was going to ask you, Katie. The thing about CNN and about his publisher is that they did not need what we learned last week to realize that Chris Cuomo should not be treated as an anchor at a journalism outlet. They didn't need that, and his publisher should have known that Chris Cuomo had no credibility on the question of deep denial during the pandemic before last week. This is all just like a complete joke that suddenly they now had the excuse to distance themselves from a guy who they knew was breaching all of the sort of ethical conduct he claimed to be upholding for years.
Yeah, and I guess what's interesting about this latest rounds of revelations and what makes it that much more brazen is that he apparently, I guess, said that he had some leads on the wedding girl, so he was trying to dig up dirt and communicate that dirt about one of Cuomo's accusers who accused him of trying to kiss her at a wedding. Which I guess takes it up a notch. So it's not just intervening and kind of a conflict of interest on behalf of your brother, but actually trying to smear his accusers. And I do think that it's interesting because apparently Chris Cuomo wrote a statement for his brother. And I think that he should just use it for himself. And if you'll allow me to quote it, it's fairly short. He sent this to DeRosa, who was one of Andrew Cuomo's aides, who, of course, thanks to DeRosa, we know about Andrew Cuomo covering up the nursing home deaths. But, this is what he wrote to DeRosa that his brother should use. This is Chris Cuomo saying that Andrew Cuomo should say, "I will not resign. I cannot resign. I understand the political pressure. I understand the stakes of political warfare. And that's what this is. And I understand the conformity that can be forced by cancel culture." So he should just release that statement for himself.
There you go. It's already drafted.
Written, yeah.
But I think Emily makes a great point about the decision of the publisher, and it also raises the question of the role of these morality clauses that are getting put into contracts nowadays, because morality is in the eye of in the eye of the beholder, and clearly the publisher did not feel like covering up a nursing home scandal.
Right.
And refusing to cover that when it was finally exposed is enough of a breach with morality that this publishing house would no longer go forward with the book. It only becomes a morality issue for the publisher, I think, when it becomes clear that nobody's going to buy this book.
Yes.
Because now he can't sell it, and so you have these corporations that are then weaponizing these morality clauses for clearly commercial gains, which seems to then basically make the idea of a contract moot. I'm not defending Chris Cuomo here, but the point here seems like the corporation basically has the power to rip up a contract whenever they see fit, and because of the way that we think about morality nowadays in our culture, can always point to something.
That is true, and that's a really important point. And it's interesting because, as you say, like, where was the morality clause when he was covering up these nursing home deaths? I don't know how they would sell books. Like, I don't know if the book would sell. I have such little faith in publishing that I feel like maybe it would do well. But I think that what it is damage control, right? They don't really care. They don't have a sense of morality or ethics, I don't think. So but I do think it's kind of a PR move. And I think it's an important thing to raise, the way that corporations will weaponize things. And I don't want to say there are certain labor issues that need to be looked at, even when the person is it's hard for me to fight for Cuomo getting, what is he claiming he's owed?
24 million.
It's hard, but it is true that, these are people who, it's something that needs to be taken into account. And while I don't want him to get paid anything, and I kind of am shocked by the gall with which he's pursuing a payout, it is true that the morality clause and a lot of these labor laws need to be toughened.
Yeah. He's probably just trying to shake down a settlement, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Needs an addition in the Hamptons.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But also we should remember that this is a guy who bragged about keeping family first, right? And that the CNN didn't do anything about it, and they should have done something much earlier. And then, of course, he stopped covering his brother at some point, as if making him cover it when there was good news, and then not cover it when there's bad news, as if that's not a problem in itself. So lots to unpack.
Yeah, no clean hands at CNN here either. Right. But Katie, thanks so much for joining us.
Be reinvented shortly. Tubin got back in, so.
That's right.
Yeah. Tomorrow on Rising, we've got an all-star lineup that includes former Georgia Lieutenant Governor candidate Sarah Riggs Amico. Team Rising also weighs in on Elon Musk's brain chips.
Emily, thank you for joining us today. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a video. That was not an instruction for Emily. That was for you. Although if you haven't done it, you should also do it. And we will see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Have a good afternoon.